Sam's or Bud?
Regal.
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 And then he became a police officer and took a cut in pay.
But then he studied. He had to pass the test. And he became a police officer. And he wore plain clothes for a while. Then he retired as an inspector. He was on the solo bikes, as you know. So I got quite a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did a lot more than I did.
It sounds a hell of a lot better when I don't sound like this, though.
You had a wild life.
I did
as
have
a young woman.
I did have a wild. And then I said, I was telling Jake how the doctor tried to kill me. I think that's what's wrong with me today. My whole leg and my whole hip.
Well, that's a different story. We like the more exciting stuff in your younger years.
I mean, I'm ready for it to blow out.
So when you were in the shipyards, what was the most scary thing that happened?
Scary thing. That's where I met Frank.
Oh.
That's my kiss and my lover. What happened in the shipyard?
Did you have anything scary happen to you in the shipyards?
No, did I say?
No, I'm just asking you.
Oh, no, I don't think so. No.
No?
No.
The scariest thing was the hitchhiking thing.
Because you were pretty safe in Hunter's Point. Because they had guards all.
Unless you're with the girl with the knife in her shoe.
Yeah, and that was the Dago Marys. That's what that. Yeah. But I shouldn't have told Laura all these horrible stories of what your mother did.
I didn't hear about the hitchhiking
I hadn't
with the
heard
police
these
officers.
stories.
You haven't?
I heard little snippets here and there,
Yeah.
but in terms of the fulsome story,
Good narrative.
I hadn't heard any this.
But I was playing, had the radio on. I was ironing that morning, January the 7th, 1941. I worked for a bootlegger. I'm only 15 or 16 years old. And that's when I heard on the radio that Pearl Harbor happened. And I thought, my God, how come I'm not getting in music? All I hear about is a war. Planes were being hit, and that's when I heard about that. But then that next day, they had a closet. The closet was a small bedroom made into the liquor room because you can't buy liquor in town. You got to go 7 miles that way or Sioux Falls. So they stocked half pints and pints was the biggest. So the college kids would come down and buy from them. Or they would phone and either, I forget what her name is, Cy McLean was him. They would deliver the liquor to you wherever you were, up to college or wherever. And that's just a half pint. You're not making much money on that, a pint and a half. And they wanted me to drive. He had a nice new car. They couldn't teach me how to shift. And yet it was an automatic. And I couldn't learn how to drive the damn thing. And I was so mad. But anyhow, a day or so later, Irene, that's what it was. Irene was gone someplace with the kids, and her husband wasn't home. So I have the key to the liquor room, and 2 college kids came in. It was about 6 o'clock, and they wanted to buy some liquor. So I said, "Come on in," and I took them in the room, and they stole a lot of the bottles and put them in their pockets, and I didn't know what to do, so they just shut the door and left. But they must have got at least 6 or 8 bottles of booze. And I came home, and Cy was so mad. He said, "You shouldn't open the door unless we're here, one of us, Cy or Irene." But I said, "Well, I sold it. I did it before." But I guess they thought I was an easy mark, so they got away. That scared me. That scared the hell out of me. Because they were pretty big kids, and they were just going to do what they wanted. So I'm lucky they only took 6 or 8 bottles.
Because this is in Brookings, right?
This is in Brookings.
Because Brookings is a college town in South Dakota.
And you couldn't sell booze there. You could buy beer, but you couldn't have hard liquor. And it was always half pints. And Cy was, he'd go out and buy cattle, a lot of cattle from ranchers and stuff. And then they'd have the auction in Brookings. So he traveled a lot, and he was gone a lot. So.
But he was the bootlegger.
He was a bootlegger, and so was his wife. And
Did they make it there?
No, they'd buy it in Sioux Falls.
Oh.
But then he'd go, one night, he told Avis and I he was going to go to Sioux Falls, we could go, and he wouldn't come back until midnight. So we went with him to Sioux Falls. Well, after 11 o'clock at night, He gave me the keys to the car. He sat in the car and waited for me. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. I wanted to go home and go to bed because I had to do something for Irene the next day. And he was so mad because I come up and rang the doorbell for his girlfriend that he was sleeping with.
Oh.
He got in the car, though. We went home. But then later on, and he was a gambler. He was a big guy, good-looking guy. But he was a gambler, and they'd have poker at his house. And anyhow, they found him murdered up on the railroad tracks about a block up behind us. So some guys beat the hell out of him and left him on the railroad tracks in the train. They knew when the train was coming, I guess, and cut him to pieces.
Jesus.
Was this a gambling debt or
So
booze?
we don't know what it was.
Wow.
It was probably gambling.
He had a lot of stuff going on.
Because Cy,
Or maybe it was the mistress's husband.
Cy made a lot of money in gambling. I know that because I hear him and Irene talking. But he was mean, and he'd beat her up every once in a while.
Yeah.
And here she was, a mother of 3 little girls, and did all this work. Every once in a while, she'd be all bruised up. She didn't want to talk about it, so I didn't talk about it. But it was a nice house, and I enjoyed working there. And I don't think I made much then either. Maybe $5 a week. Just glad to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you lived there?
Mm-hmm.
So you had room and board.
Yeah, I had room and board.
Man.
And they had a nice house. They had a nice house.
See how easy you have it? Don't ever complain about
I
what you
know,
get.
right? Complaining about, like, I don't have a dishwasher.
And as far as I never asked my folks for a dime. I don't remember them ever giving me a dime. Except my mother gave me a dime to take Jimmy down and get a haircut. Because she generally cut everybody's hair. My mother did. So I said, Jimmy, I'll cut your hair, and then we can go to the show. And he said, okay. So I cut Jimmy's hair. But the show was only a nickel to get for the kids on Saturdays. So I cut his hair, and then Ma came home, and we'd run around town. Nobody knew where we were. They didn't worry about it. Took one look at Jimmy and says, what happened to the haircut? Well, I decided to let Helen do it. She didn't say anything, or she didn't beat me or anything, but the look that I got, I'll never forget. She was mad that I cut his hair, because it was all chopped up.
You didn't do a very good job, obviously.
No, but we enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, I was going to say. It was a good show.
Yeah, a nickel for kids on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I remember Dad talking about how he used to go down and he'd say, for 2 bits, you could get into the movie and buy a soda
Yeah.
and some popcorn
Yeah.
and licorice or something, you know.
Yeah. Who, your
Yeah,
your
Dad.
dad, or-
Yeah.
I thought you meant Matt, because I
No,
didn't
it's a
think.
dad.
Nah, me.
It's like those old Western movies. They
Well, I'm
like
sure
a
you got into shows for
horse and a room and a beer and some dinner and a bath and a shoe shine. And then just like, pink, one nickel.
Yeah, you always wonder, how can they afford that? It'd be like $1.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
coin,
yeah.
$1
Still,
coin, but
it's-
they, and they got the horse boarded and
Yeah,
brushed
everything.
and fed,
Yeah.
and you know.
And it's all just, wink, and it's done.
But don't you remember going to the show for a dime, Matt?
I'm not sure. No. First of all, I lived in